Today I want to show you how to take this portrait, but instead of shading it with a pencil, we are going to use different value techniques to create all of the different shadows in and around the face. So I have a YouTube video on how to draw a simple portrait, and you can stop at around 17 minutes, and then you can also take a look at the video that I made on value and creating this value scale. So today we are going to do one in color, we're going to do one with stippling, we are going to do one with a continuous line. Let's begin by choosing a color. You can choose any color you like, or you can choose a color that maybe represents your emotions and how you're feeling today. Artists have been using colors to represent their emotions for years. So blue for sadness, red for anger, or today I'm choosing purple because purple happens to be my favorite color. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our pupils are the darkest value that you can achieve. So really color those in. And now I'm going to do the same to the iris. I'm just going to darken up the edges of the iris. And any color will work here, except for maybe yellow. Yellow is a really light color, and it's really hard to show value with yellow. Now I'm also going to darken up the top of the eye, the football. I'm gonna make that a really dark value as well. And it's always nice to have like a little cheat sheet on the side showing all the different values that you can get. So I'm just gonna darken up the top, only the top of the football. Okay, and to the bottom of the football, I'm going to outline it, but it's not going to be as dark. It's going to maybe be one of these medium values. Okay, now remember those lines that we created in the iris? You're going to go ahead and darken those up. They look like the spokes of a wheel. Don't go inside that little circle. That little circle is always going to stay white. It's going to be our little shine, our little highlight in our eye. Okay, and once you outline those nice and dark, if you have space, you can create another dark edge around the pupil, or just go ahead and shade it in with your crayon. Again, this will depend on the color of your eyes. I have light eyes, so I'm going to use one of these medium to light values, but if you have dark eyes, you might want to use one of your darker values. And I'm going to go over my eyelids and my tear ducts. And for my eyelashes, I'm just gonna make little, almost like sideways commas, and not too long. I don't want them to look like spiders on my eyes. I'm gonna make them shorter on the bottom. And this crayon isn't very pointy, so I'm not going to have a lot of detail, but that's okay. That's what happens to crayons in the art room. Start working on the nose, so I'm just going to darken it up just a little bit, like a medium value. I'm going to make the nostrils nice and dark, but the sides I'm going to create a medium value. I'm also going to do my lips, outline them in a medium, but that middle inside line that separates my upper lip from my bottom lip, I'm going to make that one really dark. And now the edges are going to be a dark value, and then the inside like a medium value. I can add some lines, darken up the edges again. And right now all of this seems dark because we haven't done the skin yet, but this will all kind of start to make sense in just a few minutes. So my eyebrows, I usually will try to make them the same value as my hair, and I'm just going to do the lines up and down, and then I'm going to turn sideways, short little lines because we have short little hairs for eyebrows. They're not one long line, they're short little lines. And again, this is not a pointy crayon, so I'm not seeing the lines very well, but that's okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly, very lightly, one of these shades down here, one of these values, the entire face, so all of the skin. And what's important when you color with crayon is you want to go in one direction. Now I am barely touching my paper because I'd rather start super light and be able to work my way darker. So I'm gonna go in one direction, over here as well. This is the lightest value that I can get. My lines are kind of all going in one direction. And if I wanted to, if that bothered me, I can then go in the opposite direction to kind of take away those lines on my face. But again, I'm gonna go super lightly because I'm not trying to create too much of a shadow here. I'm just trying to create a light skin tone. And again, this depends, just like with your eyes, this is gonna depend on the color of your skin. Can start adding some of the darker values. So right along the side of the nose, I'm going to get just a little bit darker. I'm not going to go from here to here, okay? I just want to create a little bit of a shadow along the side of my nose and around my nostrils. A little bit of a U right here. From my nose to my lips, I'm going to create a nice long tall U. And then right along here, from where my nose connects to my lips, just a little bit of a shadow that kind of will separate the cheek area. Along the side of my chin, not too much unless you want to make it look like you have a beard. And I'm going to darken up my neck a little bit, and right under my chin, a little bit of a darker shadow. I'm going to darken up right here. I have glasses, so I'm going to make these. They're like a brown, light and dark browns, but since I'm only using purple, because remember, we're making this one color, this is monochromatic, one color. I'm going to do some areas light and some areas a dark value, because that's how my glasses are. If you don't have glasses, that is okay, but if you do wear glasses, I think it's so nice to show them in your self-portrait. And if you watch my video on how to draw self-portrait, you will see that the trick to drawing glasses is actually taking your glasses that you wear and placing them on your drawing. Now the hair. So the hair, I'm just going to go ahead and outline the edges. I have blonde hair with some dark brown streaks in it. So I'm going to do a combination of some darks and lights. Now the trick with the hair is to always draw in the direction that your hair grows or is brushed. I brushed my hair this way and this way to create that part. So on this side, I am going to make nice, long, wavy lines. And I had it pulled behind my neck because it wrapped over here, and over here I made a braid. And when you're doing it with color, especially with a crayon that does not have a point to it, you don't have to worry too much about the detail. Now on the inside, I'm just going to color it lightly, a medium to a light value. But you can still see those really, really dark lines that I created, and I can go back in and even make them darker. And you can just keep working on it wherever you feel like you may need some darker areas or lighter areas, or you want to just smooth things out a little bit. You can always go back in and add some more. Like I feel like I need to make this part right here just a little bit darker. And then the background, I want to continue with the same color, but I'm going to keep it super simple, and I'm going to create just a simple background in a medium to light value, because I don't want to do too much in the background and take away from the beauty of the portrait. Notice how I am coloring in the same direction. Your monochromatic, I did one in purple, and I also did one in a reddish orange. It's the same drawing, I just chose to make it in two different colors. You can see where the darks are and the lights are. They look a little bit different, and that's okay. Again, choose a color that either expresses your emotions or maybe just one of your favorite colors. For this one, I am going to be doing a continuous line, which means once I put my pen or my pencil or my marker down, I cannot pick it up. If I do need to pick it up for whatever reason, to go to the bathroom, to answer the phone, get the door, I will always go back to that line where I ended. Okay, so it's up to you where you want to begin. I always like to begin with the eyes. And remember, you're gonna have some lines on your face that you typically would not see, but this is what continuous line drawing is all about. So we're gonna create those same shadows, but this time we're gonna create them with a line. So I'm going to begin with the pupil, and I am just using a permanent fine point marker, and I am just going to make squiggly lines, squiggly lines. And now for the lines that come out from the pupil, see, I'm just going back and forth. I'm not lifting my pen from my paper. I'm not gonna go around. I'm not gonna go inside that circle. And now I'm gonna go around the pupil or the iris. Now for the areas that you want to look dark, your continuous line would be super close together. For the areas that you want to look light, you would have less lines. So now I'm going to go around the eye. And I'm going to do my eyelashes on the top. And if you are using a marker or a pen, keep in mind that you cannot erase. And one of the things I always talk about in art is draw light until you get it right. So now I'm just gonna, you can't do that when you're using a marker, right? So now I'm just gonna go around my glasses. And my glasses are lights and darks. So I'm just going to fill it up with lines. Now, as you can see, this is far from scribbling. It's not scribble scrabble. You really have to be thoughtful and mindful of where your lines are going to go. But you can see I have not lifted my marker up from my paper yet. Hopefully I will not need to, and I will be able to get through this video without having to stop and be interrupted. I'm just going to continue. These glasses have some dark areas and some light areas. Now I'm going to work my way over to my eye. See how I did that right from the side? Looks like my marker's starting to run out, so I might actually be interrupted. And that's not good. My eyelashes. Now I'm going to come up to my eyebrows. I'm just going to go up and down, and then I turn sideways. And my marker is running out. So I'm just going to stop right here. I'm going to lift it up, and I am going to get a new Sharpie. I am back, so I'm going to start right where I left off, and I'm going to come back around And now I'm going to do this eyebrow. And there really is no right or wrong way to start off. This marker is much better, so I'm going to have to go back, I think, over to this eyebrow and fix it, because the color just was turning gray over here. And it's okay if I connect this way. You're going to have a lot of connecting lines, and that's okay. I'm going to come down to my nose, and I'm just going to make a straight line down. This part is going to be a little bit darker, and to create a shadow along here and connecting to my mouth. So imagine this being like a big string, okay? Wherever you want there to be lighter shadows, your string is farther apart. Your lines are farther apart. Wherever you want there to be darker shadows, your lines are closer together. I'm gonna add a bunch more lines right around here because the roots of my hair are a little bit darker than the other parts of my hair. So I'm gonna add the lines a lot closer right here. And for the background, I'm going to keep it where the lines are not super close together because I don't want it to take away from the portrait. And this might look a little bit different for those of you who've never seen continuous line art before, have never done it. It is definitely a different form of art, but once you get the hang of it, the really neat thing about this is that you can just keep going and going and going. And wherever I want darker areas, remember, you're just going to make your lines closer together. Am I done? I'm done. Now I can lift it up. You can see where I finished off. And now for this last one, we are going to do stippling. So stippling, remember, is dots. The closer you put the dots, the darker it is. The farther away you put the dots, the lighter the value it is. Some of these dots will overlap, and that's okay. So I'm going to begin, like I always do, right in the pupil. And I'm going to put my dots super close together. It's almost like I'm stamping. And you don't need to do it very hard because you will ruin the tip of your marker. I am using a black Sharpie. You can pretty much use, and they actually have stippling markers. They're a lot more expensive. Now I'm just going to make the lines that radiate out from the pupil. And go around my iris. So again, wherever I want things to be super dark, I put my dots really close together. Where I want them to be light, I put them a little bit farther apart. So the inside of my eyes, I have light green eyes, so I'm not gonna fill it up with too many dots. And again, make sure they're polka dots. If you go too fast, it'll look like commas, okay? Now I'm gonna go right along the edge of the top of my eye, the top of the football, and around the tear duct. I want that line to be darker than the one on the bottom. So the one on the bottom, the dots will be further apart. You see that difference? I'm going to do the same thing to the eyelids. I don't want them to be super dark, so I make them a little bit further apart. And now the eyelashes. Okay. So you can see some of the value already, all right? So I'm gonna do the same thing to the other eye. Whatever you do to one, you wanna do it to the other one. Dark around the edges, and then just a few dots on the inside. If your eyes are dark, you're gonna wanna put these dots really close together, but always remember to leave that one white shiny part empty. Okay, the top of the football, the dots are very close together. I'm gonna go around the tear duct, and then the bottom, the dots are a little bit further apart, and the same for the eyelids. Eyelashes, the ones on the end are a lot longer than the ones on the inside corner. And this gives you more just the illusion of the eyelashes because you're not drawing lines, remember. And this is going to be tricky because our muscles have memory and our muscles are used to drawing and writing lines. But we're doing polka dots. The edge of my glasses, I'm going to put my polka dots really close together. And to my eyebrows, this really depends on the color of your eyebrows, just like the color of your eyes. Remember, if your eyes were dark, then your dots are close together. If your eyes are light, your dots are far apart. Same thing with your eyebrows and your hair. If they are dark, your dots are much closer together. If they are light, they are much farther apart, okay? You notice how I had my pen marker like this and I was going this way? I want to make sure my marker is straight up and down. That will give me more of a dot and not a comma. If you go too fast, you're going to end up with commas. So make sure your marker is always standing straight up. You're not pressing hard because we don't want to ruin the tip of our marker. And we're just creating dots. Now the inside of my glasses, some areas are dark and some areas are light. So for the dark areas, dots will be very close together. For the light areas, the dots will be farther apart. All right, so now I'm gonna move on to my nose. I'm gonna go right along the edge, making the nostrils with the dots really close together to make them look darker. And then right along the other edge. Again, the closer your dots are, the darker the area will appear. Now I want to do just a few dots going up along the side of my nose to create a little bit of a shadow here. And then from my nose to my lips, I have that little area. I'm not sure what it's called, but I'm just going to put a few dots there. And now, right in that center line that separates my top lip from my bottom lip, I'm going to put the dots really close together because that line is nice and dark. And then a little bit further apart to outline my lips. And now to the inside of my lips, my end or the corners of my lips, the dots are going to be a little bit closer to create a little bit of a shadow. And then as I meet to the center, the dots get further apart. I want to create a little bit of a shadow underneath my chin. Okay, and then right along the edge of my chin, around my face, going to outline it with my dots, the edge of my hair. The darker your hair or your skin, the more dots you are going to be creating. So this is really gonna take patience, and if you need a break because you feel like you're rushing your dots, definitely take a break, because the beauty really is your dots. You want them to be polka dots. Like I said, if you go too fast or if you're getting tired, take a break. I've pretty much done the outline of the face and along the hairline, and I do want some value in the face. So right along here, I'm just going from where the nose connects to the side of the lips a little bit. And then right here, I'm gonna make the dots just a little bit closer to create a darker value. And then just along the face, I'm just going to put a few more dots. Not a lot, because my skin is a light color. And right along the nose, not too many, maybe just a couple of extra ones right around here to create a darker value. Right here to create a darker value. Some up here. Not too many. Along the bottom of the eyes. Right under the chin. My chin will usually cast a little bit of a shadow onto the neck. So right underneath, my dots are going to be closer together. And then the rest will be far apart. For the hair, it pretty much is the same thing. Now, I have darker roots, so where my hair grows from my head, it's a little bit darker than the bottom or the tips of my hair. So these dots up here are going to be a lot closer. And I have to be careful because I just realized that I was going so fast. Instead of creating a dot, I created a dash or a comma, and I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm basically drawing lines with dots. And I want to make it look like I have braids in my hair. So the direction of my dots will change. And the placement, how close or far apart they are, will change. For the background, I'm going to keep it nice and simple so it doesn't distract from the portrait. I'm just going to do lines coming all the way out to the edges.